Welcome to the show. First of all, I'm sorry about the technical issue there. Welcome to the show. Why should I vote for the DA on May 18?
You should vote for the DA, Justice, because this election is unique. For the first time since our democracy started in 1994, voters like you have a choice of two parties with a track record in local government. And local government is about basic service delivery, and now you can compare the ANC and the DA and what our track records have been like. And on every single measure, including the national government's own measure, the best run municipalities in South Africa are DA municipalities.
But I look at my newspapers. I see, for example, you've been on the show before about the MacArthur toilets, where I sit there and say, how can the DA, which says that it respects human rights, human dignity, it stands for socio-economic rights, as you said in your speech yesterday, and then you build toilets that are unenclosed and essentially just saying those people in MacArthur do not deserve what other people in Cape Town and the Western Cape are getting.
I'm smiling, Justice, because you know what the true story is about MacArthur.
Well, I know that the SA Human Rights Commission said this is one of the worst things that has ever been done in South Africa.
Well, let me say that the SA Human Rights Commission has a complete double standard. And there was no facts at all on which to base that finding. That's why we're in court with them at the moment. Because the facts are these, Justice. The national government sets down grading of informal settlements. And when the DA came to power in Cape Town, we inherited over 200 unserviced informal settlements from the ANC. No services at all. So we got going very quickly on all of them to try and upgrade them and put basic services in for the people. And the national norm under Minister Sicelo-Shiteka's department is that when you upgrade informal settlements, you put in one enclosed toilet for every 5 families. That is what we did. One enclosed toilet, according to the national norm, for every 5 families. Enclosed. No one ever had to use an unenclosed toilet. But then the people came to us and they said, we don't like the one toilet for 5 families. Those are communal toilets. We each want our own toilet. There was no more budget left for that particular phase of the upgrading, so we said, fine, we will give every single family their own flush toilet. Underground piping, we will put in the pans, and then the community agreed that they would enclose them. 96% did. 96% did. For 1 month,
4%?
For 1 month, 55 people didn't, and the minute we found out that they either couldn't or wouldn't, we immediately, 1 month later, moved in to enclose them. The ANC Youth League knocked down those enclosures 3 times because the ANC Youth League, Justice, wanted the open toilets because it suited their political propaganda purposes. 3 times they knocked down those
But
enclosures. People
might say, well, why didn't you enclose them in the first place? You took a very small matter which could have been solved very quickly, and you just kept on fighting this useless fight with the ANC Youth League instead of being pragmatic and saying we'll move a bit of money and enclose this 4%.
That's exactly what we did. And every time we went in and enclosed them, the ANC Youth League on the enclosures. That's exactly what we did.
Bricks instead of...
well, let me tell you this. The very first unenclosed toilet project in the Western Cape was introduced under the ANC administration.
And so you continue the ANC tradition?
Well, you see, the point is this is a double standard. Why are you using this against the DA when the ANC has built far more unenclosed toilets across South Africa than any other party?
Oh, well, I mean, you're the one who's sitting across from me.
Absolutely, but you've never asked that question of the ANC. Because it's a double standard.
It hasn't been an issue under the ANC. You should have made it an issue in 2005 when the ANC was doing that.
The question is this: why don't the media make it an issue under the ANC?
It's not about the media, it's about the May 18 election. And the May 18 election is about whether you have delivered or not, and you're saying you have.
We delivered more than any other party anywhere. According to Shiteka's own department, that you have support, services for the poor are better in Cape Town than any other city. Midvaal, quite extraordinary. Baviaan's the only local authority we control in the Eastern Cape. the top for service delivery, the top for subsidized services for the poor. We actually deliver the better life for all.
And you went through that quite comprehensively in your speech yesterday.
Absolutely.
But let me then ask you, a lot of people hear you say that, and then they turn around and say, you know, this is South Africa, look at the party, look at this DA, it looks like a party that's for white people. Is that true? Is that changing? Will that change on May 18th?
Well, Justice, I'm sure you saw our launch in Kliptown yesterday. Now, if the DA is, as you've just said, a party for whites, then certainly you couldn't have taken note what happened in Kliptown. As they say, the DA is the new black. And in fact, the point is that we don't see the color of your skin, in your heart, in your head, in your competence, in your commitment to our country, in your determination to build a better future. Of course, South Africa today, Justice, is a much, much better place than it was under apartheid. And many of us in the DA did everything we could at the time to fight apartheid. But let's stop comparing South Africa of today with South Africa under apartheid.
Well,
and let's start comparing the South Africa today with the South Africa we can become for everyone.
Well, let's look at the South Africa today. You had a federal conference last year, and at that conference, the four main black candidates were all defeated, and so your leadership structure remains pretty white.
It is changing very fast, but let me give you the technicality of why those excellent black candidates weren't elected. Our voting system works like this. You've got to get over a particular threshold. Every single province put up their own black candidate. Every single province voted for its own candidate. And there wasn't a national platform because everyone was going for their particular black favorite candidate. Now, there was no ballot paper, not one, without the name of a black candidate on it. The trouble is the vote was split between too many. And that was a tactical error which we will never make again.
What are you doing about it?
Well, we're doing plenty about it. We're the only party with a Young Leaders program, with over 100 alumni now, brilliant young people who are all coming through. You look at our national spokesperson, Lindiwe Mazibuko. You look at our mayoral candidate for Johannesburg, Musi Maimane. You look at all of our extraordinary young leaders like Makashule Ghana, like Mbali Ntuli. There are scores and scores coming up. And one day the election will be a choice between one of those brilliant young South Africans with everybody's future in mind and somebody like Julius Malema.
Well, I mean, that may well be so, but people may say, let's take Musi Maimane in Jobbik, for example. He's 30 years old. He's never been a position in a position where he deals actually with whether the council, the day-to-day governance of a complicated and complex city like Jobbik, and you're putting him up for mayor of Jobbik. Isn't that almost tokenism?
It absolutely isn't. When I stood as mayor of Cape Town, I'd never been in local politics either. I didn't even know what it meant to run a city. But the point is that someone as extraordinarily intelligent and able and capable as Musi Maimane will learn very quickly, and he's got the intelligence to surround himself with the best expertise, with the best technocrats, and listen to their advice. That's what I did in the city of Cape Town. I couldn't have done it on my own. I didn't understand local government. But what I did was when I got there, I knew how to pick the best people, put them in the right places, and make sure we took the right decisions. And that is what Musi Maimane will do. He's intelligent. In fact, he's brilliant. He's able. He's visionary. You watch him.
A chance in Jobbik, you didn't do too well in the last local government elections here.
We did actually as well in the last local government elections here as we did in Cape Town in 2004. We got 27% in 2004, Justice, in Cape Town. We got 42% in the next election, and were able to put together a governing alliance. And then in 2009, we won an overall majority in the Western Cape. That's how it goes when people experience the DA difference. And voters can choose to bring the DA difference to where they live as well.
In Jobbik, is that where it's coming?
Well, Jobbik's a fantastic city. And, you know, I have noticed a fundamental change in Jobbik. The people streamed to our launch yesterday in Kliptown. We could have had a venue 3 times the size and filled it. It was quite extraordinary to see. And I would imagine 85% of the people there were black South Africans, all cheering on for a better life for all that they see the DA bringing.
I was interested in that he chose for the second time actually Kliptown where the Freedom Charter. And you mentioned in your speech, I think you said, as the Freedom Charter said, South Africa can only be a great country if it really does belong to all who live in it. Are you adopting the Freedom Charter?
What we are doing is that we are presenting ourselves for what we are, which is the party of the Constitution, the party of Nelson Mandela's values, the party for the Rainbow Nation, the party for all the people. The ANC has long since ceased to be that party. They've become a black racial nationalist party, and we offer the alternative for all South Africans who believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black, white, everybody. And that is what we stand for. Those are our values. And that is how we also focus on service delivery, focus on clean government, and bring a better life for all.
Let's talk about your pledges for this municipal elections. You talk about rebates for the poorest of the poor. You talk about the idea of a municipal police. It sounds like quite a lot, and whether you can achieve this. Can you achieve this? I mean, a municipal police force.
Just look at Cape Town. We've achieved all of that. More than double the number of people get more free electricity, water, sanitation, refuse removal in Cape Town for the poor than in any other city.
But when you talk about the police force, a municipal police force, for example, crime remains in this country, murder remains highest in those townships around Cape Town.
Well, let me tell you about some of the projects we've been doing in Cape Town. Not only have we, in partnership with others, brought down crime in the CBD by over 90%, 90%, and that has really made investment coming to the city.
But the townships
now let me come there.
capital.
Let me come there, because I certainly didn't only want to leave it in the CBD. That may be the goose that lays the golden economic egg, but the townships are much closer to my heart. And we raised a lot of money, many, many millions, to put into a pilot project in Harare, Khayelitsha, which is producing spectacular results. It has brought the murder rate down by more than 33%. It is called violence prevention through urban upgrading. The German Development Bank has now become very closely involved. They say it's one of their best international projects. We're working with the people of Khayelitsha, and through that partnership, we've brought down crime very significantly. And now we're going to spread that model all over. We're now developing it in Mannenberg as well, and things are on the move. It can be done. In Midvaal, they brought down crime in the CBD by 70% in 4 years. That is all the kind of DA difference that we make, because we don't steal the people, we use it for service delivery, and we put the right people in the right positions, and we don't do cadre deployment.
We've run out of time, but just a roundup for me. When you look at South Africa today, the Western Cape, you're in dominance as to a provincial and local level in some parts. Where do you think South Africa moving on May 18 with regards to the DA? Well,
the DA and the ANC are the only choices that people can viably make out of political parties. So the DA is the alternative. And it is a local government election, so people can afford to give the DA a chance. Put us to the test. You've got nothing to lose. Try us and see if we can do better, and we will.
Premier Helen Zille, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, Justice.